Sunflower festivity?
Yes, festivi.
Festivi.
Yes.
Sunflower. Shout out to Sunflower festivi. Wonderful, wonderful people
Thank you.
and wonderful culture.
You are welcome.
To this domain, and it is beautiful. They have olives and oranges, and you see the beautiful mountains. I love it so much, and I'm so happy to be here.
But I see from your faces you look all fresh and ready to confront a day of exploration and discovery. Our program will start today by visiting the farm I spoke to you about yesterday, and it's a domain like the one we have visited yesterday in Kenitra. First of all, I'd like to introduce to you Mr. Saeed, who will be accompanying us for the day. He will be your interlocutor for the history and the culture of Fes today. After visiting, of course, the farm and being introduced to the community, the rural community of Southern Fes, he will take over and give you the best he could from his perspective on the culture and history of Fes. And so the whole afternoon will be devoted to discover the Medina and its charm and mystery.
Yes.
Okay. Wonderful. Another guest we have is the wonderful friend of my brother Hassan, who owns the hotel here where we spend the night, and she will be traveling with us to explore the farm too and meet some of you. She's a young, charming lady who wishes to share with you her time and explore, of course, the possibility of making some friends from the United States of America as she lives in Montreal, Canada. Okay. I will give the mic to Mr. Saeed, who will start talking to you about the makeup of this beautiful city. You might see I'm exaggerating a little bit about Fes more than any other city before, because this is my city. This is where I was born. This is where I was raised, and this is where I owe it all to. I'll give the word to Saeed before I bore you with all my passion to this city and its culture. Thank you.
I'm very passionate also. You're gonna notice that in my voice also when I'm talking about Fes. So let me introduce you to this city. Fes is one of 4 imperial cities that's been political capital in our history. We have Fes as the oldest. As a matter of fact, it's the oldest Arab Muslim capital of the first Arab Muslim dynasty that ruled Morocco. The second one was Marrakesh, and then Rabat, and then Meknes. Fes has 3 main parts. This where we are, where your hotel is the French Quarter. We call it La Ville Nouvelle in French, means the new town. It was built by the French when they colonized Morocco starting from 1912 to 1956. Because when the French signed the protectorate and took over this country, the old part, as well, we have 2 old parts, the Jewish quarters, the King Palace, and the old town called La Medina. They were already full packed, no space for a new regime, a new government to build its own administrative quarters, living quarters. So they moved up west here and they built this French town. It's beautiful old French with the European architecture. Then we have another part that's called the Jewish quarters in the King Palace that was built in the 14th century. And the Medina, which is right in front of us now, that's the Jewish quarter, and the King Palace on its left side. That's a 14th century. And the architecture is amazingly different in the 3 parts. Whereas in the French town we have kind of European architecture, modern large streets. The Jewish quarters is more known as the Arab Andalusian Moorish architectures that they brought with them when they were kicked out, both Jews and Muslims, out of Spain and Andalusia back in the 13th, 14th till the 15th century. And then we have the old Medina, which is characterized by Arabic, more Muslim architecture, which is more conservative, private, traditional. And the old Medina has been recognized as an international heritage site since 1982 by the UNESCO. It's about 15 kilometers square, and it's considered as the biggest urban city in the world that is car-free. It's a car-free zone. It has about 9,000 plus alleyways. It's a labyrinth, which is amazing. When we step down there later on, you're gonna feel like stepping into the medieval time. They still preserve the old way of life, and it's self-sustained city. You don't need to use a car. You can live there for months, and it's still traditional compared with the new town. The mode of life, the markets, everything is so kind of traditional. The way the people dress, the way their life is, it still keeps the old traditional way of life. So, like I said, it has always been considered, this old city, as the spiritual and cultural capital, because we have the oldest university in the world there. And we'll talk about more of this as we walk, inside those alleyways and labyrinth, streets there. And it has also the shrine of the founder of the city. It has the oldest tanneries in Morocco, where they dye the hide. So it's a lot of cultural information, a lot of stuff we're going to be talking as we walk along there. And we'll engage you. Hopefully you have a lot of questions so we can talk about different things. So this city has been the political capital also of Morocco till the French, when they came here, and they shifted the political capital because it was like a headache for the French. We have schools here, we have the educated class that's really resisted the French, and they wanted to get rid of that headache, so they moved the political capital to Rabat. But it has remained as the cultural, spiritual capital of It's 250 square hectares.
Square hectare. The whole farm?
Yeah, the whole farm.
But the roses are just 12.
It's still big.
I mean, he can expand on roses because he doesn't have enough people for harvest.
Oh, is it labor intensive?
400.
450?
And Lauren, 400 people.
Yeah, it's about 500 for
Enchanté farm.
We're going to see horses, okay? À Rabat. Dans toute la famille, on est cavalier.
They are all 4 people in his family.
C'est ça qui fait le cheval?
Famille.
Yeah, c'est ça. C'est
We have some in Gem. Le dressage.
Not that excited.
Jumping.
No. Mais c'est vitesse.
Ah d'accord, à la course de vitesse.
But the soil is very rich due to the river.
Il y a beaucoup de mauvaises herbes. Là, il y a beaucoup de mauvaises herbes parce qu'on a eu le ramadan qui nous a empêchés de travailler, étant donné que c'est toute la ferme est bio.
Yep. First of all, I want you to know that the whole domain of this farm is based on biological growing. Absolutely. The reason you see the plant is not really because due to Ramadan, and Ramadan is a fasting month here in Morocco, so the people were not able to work and the wheat has overgrown the hedges. That's the only reason. But soon they will be...
C'est en cours.
Yeah.
On est en train de faire la boucle, on est en train de finir, de venir ici.
So,
Ça devrait être fait. D'accord? On va avancer un peu plus pour voir les plantes.
So you said, coming off of Ramadan, and So because of the heat and fasting, it's just too laborious to be out here in the field. So it
And most of the people in Ramadan, they take the days off. So when they come back to work, because they leave probably far away, and they get back to work after the month of Ramadan. And it was hot. Normally, you don't drink, you don't eat the whole way. So you can imagine, you know.
This one is closed.
Normally those who work in Ramadan, they start like 4 a.m. early morning, and they
Yield
finish like 10,
more
11 in the
flowers
day.
and more resistant to any kind of insects or funguses.
They have the roots of one piece and the...
Yeah.
How you call it?
Et le tonnage estimé est de 10 à 12 hectares de roses, c'est-à-dire 6 à 12 tonnes de roses par hectare.
Yeah. For this type of ton per hectare. Which is, I mean, a lot.
We overdo things in the
Et
evening
une
at
tonne
night.
de roses donne normalement à peu près 1 litre d'huile essentielle.
Yeah.
Plus l'eau de rose.
There is a big difference between rose water and rose oil. So a ton of blooms, of buds, will give you about 1 liter of oil. But over 500 liters of rose water. So both of them are used. So the essence is very concentrated. But most of the labs or most of the perfume makers take only very little from this, a fraction of the essence of oil, to make delusion of many liters of perfume later on. It's a very concentrated
2 litres d'eau de rose, il y a $2,000. And pour donner...
I'm from the University of Georgia, and I come to Morocco, to this domain, and it is beautiful. They have olives and oranges, and you see the beautiful mountains. I love it so much, and I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much. I love it.
You are welcome.